Welcome to episode 2 of my Star Citizen Academy series. I'm Captain Katarn. This series is designed to bring you up to speed on Star Citizen as a new or returning player, as things change quickly with all the patches coming into the game. If and when one of these episodes becomes obsolete, I'll record another so you'll know every video is up to date. In the last episode, I covered the starter packages available in the game. In this one, we're going to talk about how upgrading works if you change your mind about a ship, how melting a pledge gives you store credit back, and the strategy I personally recommend, using a cheap starter ship and renting almost everything else until you can buy ships outright with in-game currency. I'll also touch on buying ships in the game. I want to stress this because it's important. You don't need to spend more than $45 to enjoy all Star Citizen has to offer. In the next episode, we'll cover the starting locations and the navigational layout, so when you first load into the game, you have an idea of where you are and what to do next. Some of the locations I'm showing you here won't make sense until the next episode. That's okay. You can reference this video when it's relevant to you. I'm going to go a bit deep here, because for a long time the only way to access specific ships was by buying them with real money, and that idea hardened into a kind of dogma around Star Citizen. That's no longer the case. You can rent ships, you can buy them in-game, and you can earn them through play. I'll talk more about the play-to-earn side later in a dedicated episode once you're further into your journey. Older backers didn't have these options. Early funding was about keeping the lights on. As the game has matured and moved closer to release, the focus has shifted toward playing the game instead of buying everything. CIG will still sell you ships, skins, armor, whatever you want if you want them, but you really don't need to go that route. Star Citizen is a little different than you might be used to. Unlike other MMOs like World of Warcraft, if an NPC is wearing or carrying an item, you can take everything they have if you defeat them. Armor, weapons, and clothing are very easy to obtain in the game. Let's talk about the perks of owning a ship outright, because I'd be lying if I said there were none. Star Citizen is still a work in progress, and while CIG has said they don't intend to wipe player progress before release, exploits or major system changes may force a database reset. The ships that you own on your account through real money purchases persist through wipes. Ships purchased purely in-game don't. It won't be a problem post-release, but it's worth mentioning. There's also an insurance system that hasn't been fully fleshed out yet, allowing you to get your ship back after it's been destroyed. Right now, insurance is essentially automatic. In the future, it's expected to evolve into different tiers with ongoing costs acting as a credit sink for the economy. In the past, many ships were sold with lifetime insurance, but that's become far less common. If you hear a player talk about LTI tokens, they mean they bought a cheap ship with lifetime insurance attached to it with the goal of upgrading it into a bigger ship while keeping that same insurance level. Personally, I'm not concerned about insurance at all. It's very unlikely that future in-game insurance fees will ever justify buying a ship with real money just to avoid them. One of the strongest features of Star Citizen's pledge system is that you're never locked into a ship. As mentioned in the last episode, you'll always need a game package on your account, but you can upgrade the ship attached to that package without removing the game access itself. This is known as a cross-chassis upgrade, or CCU. To do this, head to the RSI website, open the Pledge Store, and select Ship Upgrades under the other tab. On the left, the site will show ships you currently own. Choose the one you want to upgrade. On the right, select the ship you'd like to upgrade to. Keep in mind that Star Citizen uses a fear of missing out sales model for real-life purchases. Not every ship is available all the time on the website. There are 2 major sales each year, typically in May and November when every ship becomes available. Outside of those windows, the selection is more limited, but every gameplay loop will always have ships available. Once you select a ship, the site will show you the price difference. Add it to your cart, complete checkout, then apply the upgrade from the My Hangar page. After confirming with your password, the upgrade will apply to the selected package. If you're logged into the game while doing this, the changes will take effect after you relog. Some players use advanced strategies called CCU chains to reduce the cost of more expensive ships by upgrading them in a specific order. I'm not going to cover that here, but if there's interest, I'll let the community explain it in the comments. I really want to get away from the idea that people need to buy ships with real money. It's not the reality of the current game. Upgrading is straightforward, but what if you want to go the other direction? That's where melting comes in. Melting a pledge converts it into store credit. There are a few important limitations to understand. You can't just melt a single ship on the package, you have to melt the entire pledge. When you melt a pledge, you only ever receive the amount of money you actually spent, minus any taxes. Even if the ship has increased in value since you bought it, you're limited to your original out-of-pocket cost. If you melt a package that was upgraded, you reclaim the total value of the entire pledge, including any upgraded costs, and lose any original items that came with it. Some pledges have perks like armor or clothing added as a bonus, and those will be melted as well. This matters because ships often increase in price as they become flyable or receive major gameplay updates. For example, the Argo Raft recently received a rework that expanded its cargo capacity from 96 SCU to a redesigned grid capable of holding 192 SCU. As a result, its store price is increasing to reflect its new hauling role. If you had a raft previously, the value of the ship increased for upgrading purposes, but the store credit you'd get for melting it hasn't changed. Side note, it's also one of the strongest cargo ships in the game for a 1 to 2 person crew. If you decide to melt a pledge, click exchange on that pledge in your hangar. A confirmation window will show the store credit you'll receive. After confirming and entering your password, the pledge is removed and the store credit is added to your account ledger, which you can view from your avatar menu. When checking out in the pledge store, you can apply store credit on the right-hand side up to the amount you have available or the full cost of the item, whichever is lower. Occasionally, ships are sold at a discounted price through what are called Warbond sales. Warbond pledges must be purchased with new cash, not store credit. This is intentional. Ship sales are often when players reorganize their hangars, melting and swapping ships based on changing priorities, and Warbond discounts are designed to reward new money purchases. There's also a buyback system. In the My Hangar page, you'll find a Buyback Pledges tab that lists packages you've previously melted. This allows you to recover older packages that may no longer be available in the store. To prevent abuse, there's a limit on using store credit for buybacks. Currently, you can use store credit once per quarter, and those buyback tokens can stack up to 2. If you use cash, there's no restriction. When you buy back a pledge, it's always at the original price you paid, which can be a significant discount for older packages. That takes care of the real money side of things. Now let's talk about what I consider one of Star Citizen's most underrated systems: renting ships. Renting lets you try different gameplay loops, make money, and experiment without committing to anything long-term. When you rent a ship, you get access to it just like you would if you owned it for the duration of the rental period. Rental options include 1, 3, 7, and 30-day periods, with longer rentals offering better value. Rented ships appear in your ship list at ESOP terminals, which stands for Automated Ship Organization Program, can be called and stored normally, and are fully usable during the rental window. The main limitation is that you cannot change components on a rented ship. You're locked into using the default configuration for the duration of the rental. Aside from that, rentals behave like any other ship. There are dedicated locations throughout the game where ships can be rented, typically tied to landing zones and space stations. Because ship availability can change between patches, I'll link the full rental location guide from the wiki in the description rather than listing every ship here. What I want to focus on is where these terminals are located and what types of ships you can expect to find. For non-industrial ships, rental kiosks are located in the 4 major landing zones in the Stanton system. Traveler Rentals is located at the spaceport in Area 18 on ArcCorp. Traveler Rentals also has a second location at the spaceport in Orison on Crusader. Regal Luxury Rentals can be found at the new Babbage spaceport on Microtech. Vantage Rentals is located at the spaceport in Loreville on Hurston. At these locations, you'll find a wide range of ships that allow you to sample different roles. This includes ships with medical beds like the C-8R Pisces Rescue, multiple ground vehicles, racing ships like the Mirai Razor, fighters such as the Vanguard Warden, and entry-level cargo ships like the C-1 Spirit. For industrial and cargo-focused ships, rental kiosks are located on space stations. Cargo decks can be found throughout the verse at the major stations in geosynchronous orbit above the primary landing zones in the Stanton system, at the port of Levski, at all major jump point stations, and at all 3 major space stations in the Pyro system. These locations offer cargo ships ranging from small haulers like the Drake Cutter with 4 SCU of capacity up to larger ships like the Freelancer Max, which can carry 120 SCU of cargo in a single trip. Refinery decks are located at the Lagrange point stations throughout the Stanton system. Each planet's L1 station is guaranteed to have a refinery deck with a rental terminal. If that statement doesn't fully make sense yet, don't worry. We'll cover system layout and navigation next episode. At refinery decks, you can rent ships designed for mining and resource transport. This includes the Grey Cat Rock for ground mining, the Misk Prospector for solo space mining, the Cutlass Black, which is commonly used to transport refined materials and commit a little piracy, of course, and the Argo Mole, a multiplayer mining ship. Teach's Ship Shop in Levski has some of the most interesting rentals currently in the game. It's my recommendation for players that are looking to make money outside of combat. The Drake Vulture, a single-seater salvage ship, is available there with custom upgraded components included, as well as the smaller and cheaper to rent Misk Fortune. another salvage ship. If cargo is your thing, the Argo Raft is available to rent there as well, and the ROI from cargo missions will quickly make it worth it. Everything in Star Citizen is physicalized, which means you'll be moving goods to refineries and then taking the refined minerals to one of the trading locations in major cities to sell them. There's no shortcuts or items magically warping to a new location on their own. By having access to all of these ships, you can do anything solo in Star Citizen. The game scales well with multiple players working together to increase efficiency. Buying ships in-game is straightforward and uses Alpha UEC. Ships purchased this way are fully functional, can have their components and paint schemes changed, and currently behave the same as ships bought with real money. As with rentals, I'll link a full list of ships and purchase locations in the description since availability can change between patches. There are 5 locations in the game where players can buy ships, and prices vary based on your location. By far the largest and most popular is New Deal, located adjacent to Tisa Spaceport in Lorville. New Deal has a permanent 5% discount due to an in-game event. After exiting the hangar elevator, head into the main plaza, turn right, and you'll find the New Deal facility outside. You can view select ships physically on display, with the full catalog accessible through the purchase terminal inside. Once purchased, the ship is added directly to your ship list at the spaceport terminal. Other ship dealerships include Astro Armada on the retail bridges of Area 18, the Crusader showroom in Orison across from the hospital, Teach's in Levski located within the hangar complex, and buy and fly locations at the major space stations in the Pyro system. That covers the major ways to obtain ships in Star Citizen. Whether you choose to own a ship outright, rent to explore different gameplay loops, or buy ships in-game as you progress, you have far more flexibility than the game's reputation suggests. The next time someone tells you that you need to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to enjoy Star Citizen, you can smile to yourself, because now you know better. If you found this helpful, consider liking the video and sharing it with someone new to the game. In the next episode, we'll walk through the starting location so you can choose where to begin with confidence. Welcome to the Academy. I'll see you in the verse.